This episode is brought to you by Hasa. Pool Pros. Are you using the new Hasa Pro Rewards app? Earn points on Hasa and random purchases, redeem them for gift cards and product rewards. Download the free Hasa Pro Rewards app today and get rewarded. By the Bottom Feeder. With their new cartridge filter assembly, now you can vacuum dirt in a pool down to 10 microns. Don't just vacuum the pool, finish it.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hey, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to go over the fastest way to vacuum a pool. If you do pool service, vacuuming is probably the thing that is the most time-consuming on your service route. So I'm going to give you some tips on vacuuming pools and speeding up this process. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support. For me, I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. I'll start with this first. And this is one of these things where it's kind of dependent on the service account, your service area, your business model. But in my service agreement, I put vacuum when necessary. So this eliminates the need for me to drop a vacuum in every pool on my pool route every time I'm there. And the vacuum if necessary clause is kind of an important one for my service area because most of the pools have suction side cleaners installed, which means that I'm just spot vacuuming the pools mainly. And I'll touch on the benefit of this also a little bit later. And if you have employees, you may want to stipulate they vacuum every pool in some fashion. A lot of times, the biggest complaint you'll have on your pool service is that the employee didn't do anything at the pool. So if they're not vacuuming the pool, the customer assumes they didn't do anything at the pool, even though we know that there's a lot more involved besides vacuuming the pool. There's, of course, brushing, skimming, checking the chemicals, checking the equipment. All those are part of the process, cleaning the tile. And vacuuming is something that they focus on because that's what looks like you're actually cleaning the pool. I don't know if that makes sense, but standing there, moving back and forth with the vacuum makes it look like you're actually cleaning the pool because you're vacuuming the pool. I guess in a sense it'd be if you hired someone to clean your house and they didn't vacuum the carpet or vacuum the wood floor every time they were here, you would think they're not actually cleaning the house. But in reality, vacuuming the pool is just one step, and it's not the same thing. You can't kind of correlate that with vacuuming the carpet in the house. It's a little bit different. So I think one thing that you can do is differentiate between, vacuuming at every account, if that's how you want to do it, having your employees vacuum at every account, or vacuum when necessary. And there's a big difference there because then the customer, or then you are not obligated, I should say, to vacuum every pool if you phrase it that way. Now, the best thing and the quickest way to vacuum a pool is not to use a manual vacuum hose, vacuum head with a regular hose, I should say, and connect it to the skimmer. It's a very slow process, and it's kind of an outdated way of vacuuming pools, I should say, in a lot of cases. But it may be necessary in some cases to do this. So this is the slowest method to vacuum a pool. If you're like in Arizona, high desert area, vacuuming the pool with the manual vacuum is sometimes part of what you do out there because of all the dust in the area. Other areas like my service area, we don't have a lot of dirt per se, not nearly as much as the high desert here. And so vacuuming is not as necessary. But the manual vacuum with the hose and the vacuum head and connecting to the skimmer is the slowest method out there because you're bringing the hose, you're connecting it to the skimmer, and then depending on the pool suction is how fast you can move on the bottom of the pool. The vacuum head itself has an opening, maybe an inch in diameter, circular, So a lot of times any leaf debris or any kind of acorns that pile up will clog the vacuum head. I can't tell you how many times I've spent, pulling the vacuum head up out of the pool, putting my finger in there to knock some acorns out so that it actually pulls it through, and then finding it clogged up at the canister, at the head of the canister I'm using, leaf canister, and then I'm spending time taking the hose off, unclogging the debris there. So it can be very time consuming, especially if there's leaf debris as well as dirt in the pool. So what would be an obvious solution to make this a faster process? Well, obviously using a manual vacuum head and a hose would be the slowest way. So getting away from that would be a faster way of doing it. A lot of pools in my area and most pool companies here, every pool has an automatic cleaner in it. A suction side cleaner is very popular here because it picks up dirt as well as some leaf debris. And if you have pools with automatic cleaners, then all you're doing is spot vacuuming the pool. Now there are two ways to spot vacuum the pool. One way is to bring your vacuum head with you to the pool, take off the cleaner from the head of the hoses where the cleaner's at, and then connecting your vacuum hose to the cleaner hoses and then kind of vacuuming the pool and spa that way. It's still much faster than the manual vacuum head with the hose, I should say, connected to the skimmer. You're already utilizing the hoses that are in the pool, and you're just vacuuming parts of the pool where the cleaner may have missed. That to me is a very fast and effective way to vacuum a pool. There are some handicaps with that, of course, because you're not getting the full suction a lot of times using the cleaner hose or the side port. Even if it's connected to the skimmer, you're not going to get the full suction. So you're going slower, and it may not be as effective as, of course, the manual vacuum head with a hose connected at the skimmer. Secondary, sometimes the hose comes off of the vacuum head. It's really, the automatic cleaner hoses aren't designed to go on a manual vacuum head. Specifically, they're designed to go on the cleaner head that's in the pool. So that may be a drawback as well. I've had this happen to me a number of times. I'm vacuuming it and then the hose comes loose and it sucks air. The whole process is kind of short-circuited. So that's another drawback there. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, if you get big enough, now I wouldn't recommend doing this when you're starting out. I always say when you're starting out, it's not about time saving. It's more about cleaning the pool effectively. So yes, using a manual vacuum head attached to a pool hose attached to the skimmer is effective, it's slow, and this is something that you should be doing when you're starting out. There's no need to spend a lot of money on extra equipment. But once you're established and you want to speed things up to do more pools during the day, I think a vacuum system is the next step for your business. Now there's a few choices out there. I like the bottom feeder because of the versatility of it, but there's also the Hammerhead, which you can buy at your supplier. I think the Hammerhead is very maneuverable. It's a really good vacuum system, and it comes with a cart that's okay. It's not the most robust cart. Riptide is probably the best of the cart vacuum systems in my opinion, because not only is it a robust vacuum system with tons of power, the service cart is very useful to put equipment and other things there. And then you have kind of a hybrid. It's not really a vacuum system, but it does take the place of a manual vacuum, and that's the Vac Daddy. And this is something that you can plug in at your stops. They also have a battery for it now and use this to vacuum the pools. And then the bottom feeder, of course, is the one that I would recommend in a lot of cases because there's no cables. You just drop it in anywhere in the pool. And there's also a cartridge filter assembly, which I'll touch on. And the Pool Guy Podcast Show has teamed up with UPA to bring you affordable, reliable liability insurance starting at just $64 a month. Get up to $2 million in coverage, and the members of my coaching group get an even lower rate. Protect your business and your peace of mind. Sign up with UPA today by clicking the link in the podcast description. Now this cartridge filter assembly is really cool because now you can vacuum dirt with it. So it's basically a 50 square foot cartridge filter that sits on top of the bottom feeder. It also works on the shrimp, by the way, as well. And then you can vacuum dirt out of the pool, and it'll have the same effect of cleaning up the dirt as if you were connecting your pool hose with the vacuum head to the skimmer and vacuuming into the customer's filter. it's that effective in vacuuming up dirt in the pool. So it's something to definitely look into if you're in an area where there's dirt as well as leaf debris, and some of your pools don't have suction side cleaners, or you want to really get the dirt out of the pool as well as the leaf debris. The vacuum systems are limited in this respect, is that there's a bag on top, and this bag can only get dirt out to a certain micron. Now you can use a 60 micron bag, but you have to go slower, and it may not be sufficient for the entire pool as some air gets filled up and there's some resistance. 75 micron is my kind of sweet spot bag. I like 75 micron or even 100 microns because then you get dirt as well as leaf debris, and then only the finer dirt gets through. So basically, if you're going to use a vacuum system to vacuum a pool out where there's dirt on the bottom, here's what's going to happen. Let's just say you're using the Riptide. So you get to a pool, there's dirt on the bottom, there's leaf debris on the bottom, and let's say you're using the 75 micron bag. So you vacuum the pool, it looks really good. The pool may be slightly cloudy when you're done, but if you come back to that pool in 2 hours, you're going to see all the fine dirt still on the bottom of the pool. And that's the limitation of all the vacuum systems, including the bottom feeder with the bag on top. So the limitation with the vacuum system is that the finer dirt, whatever micron it can't pick up to, if you use a 60 micron bag, then all the dirt under 60 microns gets blown through the bag back into the water and it settles at the bottom of the pool. Now that's somewhat acceptable if there's a suction cleaner that can kind of clean and polish the pool. But as you know, the suction cleaner could fail, it could get something stuck in it, and it could miss parts of the pool and leave dirt streaks everywhere. So of course, the bulletproof way of making sure that there's no dirt in the pool is to manually vacuum the pool with the vacuum head and the hose connected to the skimmer. But there's also the bottom feeder with the cartridge filter assembly that vacuums dirt down to 10 to 20 microns. And so this will actually vacuum the dirt out just as if you were manually vacuuming the pool, if that makes sense. So very similar effect. And this is a really highly effective way to vacuum the pool rapidly. And it's an effective way to get dirt out of the pool at the same time as you're getting the leaf debris out of the pool. So let me back up for a second and talk about the vacuuming requirements. So it would be nice if you could vacuum every pool on your route if you're the single polar and you're out there. And I would say that the bottom feeder would be a great way to circumvent the manual vacuum hose setup and accomplish vacuuming every pool on your route. You can of course use another vacuum system as well with the cart. There's a little bit more setup time. It's not like a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, but I still think the bottom feeder is fast and effective, or the shrimp cleaner, and you drop it in and you can vacuum the pool in less than 5 minutes. And this way you're vacuuming and polishing the pool. And if you see dirt or a lot of dirt in the pool, you can actually use the cartridge filter assembly. It takes only a few seconds to go between the cartridge filter and the bag on the bottom feeder. So that's highly effective. I wouldn't recommend using the vacuum system with the smaller micron bag all the time because the bags do wear out faster. Those lower micron bags do wear out quicker, and you're going to be going through a lot of bags. So I would say 75 to 100 microns, anywhere in that range is perfect for my service area. There's other people that are using 200 and 400 micron bags because their service area is mainly leaf debris with very little dirt, and you can go that direction too. But the vacuum systems, except for the bottom feeder with the cartridge filter assembly, are limited to mainly leaf debris down to a certain micron with dirt only. I know there's been some people that have a technique of vacuuming the pool where they brush all the dirt down to the deep end, and some people actually try to brush the dirt into the main drain on the bottom. I can tell you from experimenting with these methods that they're highly ineffective. So I did try this method. I watched someone's YouTube video, and she showed it like brushing the shallow end to the deep end, skimming the pool, and then letting all the dirt settle and then vacuuming just the deep end of the pool. I mean, that makes some sense, like you're only vacuuming half the pool, but it's not effective. There's still a lot of fine dirt that settles in the shallow end, and I've done this where I did this experiment, and then I vacuumed the deep end, and I can actually see the streak of where this fine dirt settled on the shallow end again still. So to me, that's not effective, nor is it effective to turn everything to the main drain and brush everything into the main drain. It's going to make the pool cloudy, and an hour later, there's going to be a lot of dirt that settles down to the bottom. So there's no shortcut to vacuuming, really. You can't just brush it to the main drain or brush it to the deep end and vacuum the deep end only. That won't save you any time. The best formula and the best setup is this. Every pool on your route should have an automatic cleaner, pressure side cleaner with a sand silt bag or a suction side cleaner. That way when you get to the stop or your employee gets to the stop, they just have to spot vacuum the pool. They can use the manual vacuum head on automatic cleaner hoses, which is fairly fast, or they can use a vacuum system like the bottom feeder Riptide or Hammerhead to vacuum out, the some dirt as well as the leaf debris, and this is highly effective as well. And a lot of companies will give their employees a vacuum system and have them use that as their primary vacuum on the pool route, which is perfectly fine in my opinion, especially if the pool has an automatic cleaner and the fine dirt is going to be picked up by that cleaner. Because there are some bulletproof cleaners out there like the Hayward Pool Cleaner or Aquanaut, and then the Polaris Max or Atlas are really good at getting full coverage of the pool. I wouldn't necessarily, Hayward Navigator does a good job too, but I've noticed that sometimes they'll miss certain spots all the time, and then that's kind of not great for your pool service when the pool's totally clean, but there's two dirt areas or streaks of dirt in the deep end of the pool or shallow end somewhere. So I would get a bulletproof cleaner like the Hayward Aquanaut or the Hayward Pool Cleaner, same cleaner basically, or the Polaris Max or Atlas cleaner. And that way, if you're going to spot vacuum a pool, you really have no worries that the cleaner is going to not get all the dirt out after you're there at the stop. But you don't want to leave the pool dirty either. So that's another thing that is part of this equation. If you're going to use a vacuum system, you don't want to stir up a lot of dirt. And when you leave, the customer is going to go out there and see the cleaner picking up dirt and leaving streak marks. And they'll be like, why didn't you vacuum the pool? Why is this so dirty? So again, that's why sometimes the default, no time saving, manual vacuum head with the hose connected to the skimmer is the best way to really clean a pool, or using the bottom feeder cartridge assembly to vacuum the dirt out. It's one of those things where some people aren't even around to see their pool, so spot vacuuming is highly effective. But ultimately, you want to clean the pool. And yes, there's fast ways to vacuum a pool, but there's also the aspect of you really need to clean the pool and vacuum it sometimes. And so speed is not always your goal out there, but speed should be in the equation, of course. If you can speed it up by using the vacuum systems, the spot vacuum or the cleaner hose with the vacuum head, I recommend going that direction. And of course, as a last resort, to make sure you leave the pool clean, the regular manual vacuuming may be necessary. If you're looking for other podcasts, you can find those by going to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. Click on the podcast icon on the banner, and there'll be a drop-down menu with over 2,000 podcasts for you to listen to there. And if you're interested in my coaching program, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a good rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by Hasa, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.